Is your balance not quite right? Maybe you tend to trip over, maybe you tend to lose your way or fall to one side at night in the dark. Well, I want to talk to you about balance and what balance is actually today, and one of the key things that we find as a problem with balance, because this is one that's often missed and not spoken about as well. So let's look at balance to begin with, because balance is not just about staying upright. Balance is actually about knowing where you are in space, and there's three key aspects for the brain to understand that mechanism. So the first thing we use is actually our vision. So when we're looking, we actually look for straight lines, and then with those straight lines we reference ourselves movement wise to those straight lines to work out whether we're moving or not and in which direction we're moving. So straight lines become really important in regards to trying to establish that mechanism and hold you up straight. The second thing we then use if we close our eyes is our feet. So we look for, are we leaning forward, backwards, left or right on our feet? And in doing so, when we do this, are we actually able to counteract that and stay upright? The third one then, if we lose our feet, such as if we're on a plane or a boat and the floor's always moving, becomes gravity. So this is where we use our ears or our vestibular system to work out where the gravitational line is to work out where we are in space. So the big one I want to talk to you about today is this one here, the sensory mechanism, or what we call proprioception from your feet. Because this is a really important one, and it's one that is often forgotten about or missed when it comes to balance, is how important feeling the floor actually is. Now, just like any other aspect of the human body, if you don't use it, you lose it, okay? So no different than your bicep muscles or your calf muscles or your memory. If you don't use it, it eventually starts breaking down and fades away. And our proprioceptive input is just as important. So there's a few key things that can potentially cause that to break down. So the first one sometimes happens with some people when they've been immobilized for a long period of time. So for example, if you've broken an ankle or a knee or something like this, had an ACL surgery done, and the knee has had to be braced and immobilized, or the ankle's been braced and immobilized for a long period of time, there's a lack of input coming to the brain, and that can cause those pathways to wind down. But there's even something more simple that may potentially be driving this in many people, and that's footwear. You see, as I said before, we need to feel the ground to use that mechanism. We need the sensory input coming up from our feet. So when we start wearing shoes, especially if we're in thick-soled shoes, the issue we have with that is we don't ever feel the ground. Our foot never actually gets to move. Our toes don't move like they should. We end up in a solid, flat surface all the time. And the problem that we have with that is we don't stimulate that proprioceptive mechanism, and that can potentially lead to degradation. So one of the quick ways you can do that and work that out is just to simply do nothing more than stand with your feet totally together, so completely together, close your eyes and just see if you sway in one direction in particular or how much you sway. Significant swaying in that position can be a sign that that proprioceptive mechanism isn't working as well as it should be, and that may potentially be influencing your balance. So there are a few things we can do. So number one, it's very simple, and that is you need to start feeling the floor, okay? So there's a couple of things that you can do with this. Number one is just spend time barefoot. Take your shoes off and spend as much time barefoot as you possibly can. Those of you in our office who know me well know that I'm always virtually barefoot. Even in the office, I'm in nothing other than socks all the time for that reason, just to try and keep that mechanism as healthy as we possibly can. For those that need to be in footwear, then there's a whole range of barefoot shoes that are now available. Vivo, Zero, there's a whole lot of these things that we can use. For quite a while, early in the teens, we had a whole lot of runners that were heading down that path as well, but we still can get what we call minimalist runners that allow us to feel the floor despite us still running in a safe manner. The other thing we can do is just do balance exercises with your eyes closed. So if we're doing balance exercise with your eyes closed on a firm surface, so something as simple as a one-leg squat with your eyes closed or going up on your toes with your eyes closed, these type of things will force the brain to pay more attention to your feet, and in doing so will actually stimulate that mechanism. And the more you use it, the more growth you get. And another way that we can use it that we're seeing great results with are our NeuroSpec glasses. So these are glasses that are what we call stroboscopic, that flicker and as they flicker, they just restrict light to your eyes, and by restricting light to your eyes, they force the brain to pay more attention to these other two mechanisms, and in doing so help upregulate that sensory input. Anyway guys, if you're having questions with any of that, please feel free to message me at any given time. I'm always happy to help. If you want to know more about our NeuroSpect glasses, let me know. We have got videos on our Facebook page as well, so you can check that out too. Otherwise, post up any questions you might have or any comments you might have about this video. I'm always happy to take feedback. Is there something you found that seems to help your balance really well? If so, post that up. Otherwise, I'm Trevor Chakouti, and we'll catch you in the next vid. Bye for now.